on our Reddit, the Red Cow Entertainment subreddit, somewhere in Florida, a fan was walking around in what looks to be a Walmart or something like that, passes by another fan wearing a Boxmac t-shirt in Florida.
It's amazing.
I shared that with my dad today. I was like, I'm one of these days you're going to figure out your son's a big deal.
Yeah, I like to call myself a nano influencer.
The quantum influencer.
A quantum influencer.
I'm kind of like the Bill Murray of the quantum realm of influencers. I'm here just to give some exposition sleepily and then move on. I thought that was really, really awesome that he. It looked to me like he also like took the picture surreptitiously, like the guy didn't know he was taking. He's like, put this on the Red Coast subreddit.
Put this on the subreddit. We'll quick get some clout.
Senpai will acknowledge me. And somebody else also, just on the topic of our Reddit, somebody else was like, "Is John okay?" Because I haven't uploaded for 2 weeks. John's dead because I haven't. I'm like, and I'm uploading nonstop on this channel. John's dead.
Yeah, he's dead. Oh, when we were planning the shoot for this weekend, he wasn't like responding for like a day, and I was like, "Is he dead?"
I actually was slightly concerned because normally we do get a response. We were all like, "So when we shoot on Saturday,
whether or not John's dead, we're
seeing Ant-Man.
Yeah, we'll see it
with or without John's credit card." Yes, John's fine. So the project that I've been working on really, really hard has been for the last week has been this Who is Red Cow Entertainment thing. So just to recap for those who haven't heard it, we get new fans from like the Cinemassacre shit or from Boxmac or from whatever. Sometimes it's other stuff. Sometimes it'll be like John Snaz, or it'll be like through your content or whatever. And people just have no idea what channel they've landed on. And we're not much of a help because we've been making content for like 20 years and we just pile content on top of content on top of content.
We don't stop. We don't think about it. We don't have marketing.
Yeah. So we fail to brand it all that in a more easily navigable way. So, they've got these channel trailer things on YouTube channels. And over the years, I've cut together a couple of those that mostly just are like, you can come here for Boxmac and for EJ Cooks and for like John's Cart, or whatever. That's just trying to lead with the stuff that at the time we were most popular for. And then this channel gained some traction. The podcast channel gained some traction. So now I'm going like, all right, like there are people who are genuine fans. There are people who are genuinely interested and genuinely like us and would want to discover our old stuff. Or at least I was getting a lot of questions about like, why is it called Red Cow Entertainment? Or how did you and EJ and John meet? Or people, they're like, do you have a video where it explains like how everybody met or whatever? So there's kind of like all these questions of like, yeah, I see that you guys have like 1,000 video backlog. What the hell is in there? What's the story of Red Cow? So I said it would be worth my time to do a brisk but in-depth explanation of the whole thing for those who care. So like everything, it quickly, the scope creep was outrageous. So I sat down, first it's just like hard to write a script about like 23 years of content creation.
Yeah.
It's hard to be like, what do I mention? What don't I mention? Make it flow, write it reasonably well. Am I cutting in actual clips from am I going to like showcase a joke here and there or whatever? What's the tone? There's also like is it like, is it kind of like reverent toward our material or is it kind of more flippant or, you gotta make all those decisions in the writing. And then there's the element of like, did I actually capture every milestone that I wanted to capture? And I'd remember like, oh yeah, I should probably mention that too. Or, oh yeah, we won that competition or we traveled here and that's what led to this. But like every narrative, it's all about making it flow. It's all about one thing should lead to the next and making the timeline, accurate. And so I get it written, I record it. And there's even a question of like who we've had so many collaborators over the years. Like who would want to be mentioned by name? Who would like be hurt if I didn't mention them by name? And then there's it's like who would not want me to mention them by name? Like who should I avoid? Or there's even, I'll get into that in a minute. So okay, so now I've written the full history, the 16-minute history of Red Cow, and now it's time to like start cutting clips together. And I'm like, well, just about like every 3 to 5 seconds is probably going to be some other clip about the thing I'm talking about or demonstrating. And so and I want it in the highest possible quality. So I'm like, so how do I get like the original exports for all this stuff? And shouldn't I get that in advance of editing, so that I'm able to just grab from everything? So I start going through like I've got dozens of hard drives. I'm going through all of them and I'm going, yeah, that one would probably be good. Yeah, that one would probably be good. Many of them are in like Microsoft AVI format for the
Oh my
really old
gosh.
stuff. So I'm encoding stuff. I've got this giant queue of encoded content. It was just a bear.
So much sourced material.
Yeah, and it ended up being about 300 gigs worth of just like exports that I was working with. And then like my internal hard drive is only 500 gigs, and a lot of that's filled up with like application content and stuff, application data. And you would want it, if I'm editing on a laptop in bed or something, like, or on a bus, you don't want to be tethered to a hard drive. But ultimately I had to be tethered to a hard drive. There was just too much shit. But even that, you still have to like get all the data onto the drive that you want to work off of. And so once that was all compiled, then it took probably about 1 to 2 hours to edit 1 minute of content, I would say. And then there were 16 minutes of content.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Cause you're also like making like timing decisions. You're like, well, what clip would demonstrate the point I'm making here the best? And, yeah, so it was very, very complicated, and, but it's done and it's coming out this Sunday and I'm really looking forward to it. I think I'll put it up as the new channel trailer. Because, it's like if you care enough, then you'll watch it. And if you don't give a fuck, then you won't watch it. How about that?
Yeah, and I don't know, who's even watching that channel trailer? Are people watching channel trailers nowadays? I don't know.
It's a good question. Let's see, like how many times has the current channel trailer on the main, because I don't even have one on the Red Cow Arcade. Yeah, like 1,500 views. And it auto plays when you go to our channel.
So that's not that great. But so yeah, you might as well make it the channel trailer.
I also ran into, there was this, just a quick story. We made an RIP restaurants and retail video about Hollywood Video last year.
Oh yeah.
And there was this, I'll pull stuff from YouTube to make my points. And I found this this YouTube channel that just had like a clip of somebody finding like an abandoned like drop off thing for Hollywood Video. And I used it for 4 seconds, EJ, 4 fucking seconds. And it's cut into 2 clips and there's voiceover on top of it. So it's not even using audio from it. And the guy found it somehow. I think probably he was watching our video.
Probably is obsessed with abandoned retail.
Yeah. And so he probably was watching the video. He saw that we used it and he decided to file a manual claim against us, demanding that our whole video.
First, didn't he send a comment? And he was like, "Oh, do you ask permission before using videos?" And then you were like, "What are you talking about? Like the Blockbuster video?"
I didn't know what he was talking about because I don't remember what I cut into that. And then instead of
stealing willy nilly,
instead of responding to me, he filed what's called a manual claim. Because most of the time, what happens is YouTube's auto detection will inform the copyright holder and say like, "Hey, they're using your stuff. Like, what do you want to do?" You have the option to monetize it. You have the option to do a takedown, like whatever. But he does a manual one. He says, that's mine from this time code to this time code. And so I get an email that's like, you have 10 days to either email this person and settle it and have them retract it, or you have to delete the video yourself, delete it. 2,500 views, a bunch of comments. You'll lose that forever because YouTube stupidly doesn't have a feature like every other video hosting site where you can swap the video but retain all the metadata.
Yeah.
Fucking stupid. And it goes, you can also choose to do nothing, but in 10 days, if it's not retracted, you will get a copyright strike on your channel. And, we'll talk more about that in a second. And, it'll be taken down anyway. We'll remove it anyway. So I email the guy. He doesn't get back to me. I made my case. I said, it's 4 seconds. It's transformative. I think it's fair use. I mean, we were doing like a report on this like old Hollywood video and surely, this is not in the spirit of YouTube to be like, you don't get to use my 4-second clip. And, he didn't respond. So I left him I've actually found his phone number on Instagram and I left him a voicemail. I presented my case as kindly as I could. And then he actually did respond right away. And he said, like, hey, sorry about that. Yeah, I didn't appreciate that you didn't ask for permission. No problem. I'll retract the claim. Have a blessed day. That's what he told me.
All right.
And I said, oh, cool. All right. So he's being reasonable. And I thought it was all resolved. I was like, hey, that worked out pretty well. He said, like, if you could give me credit, that would be cool. So I said, all right, I can do that. Then today happens. I wake up. Your video's been removed and you have a copyright strike on your channel. I'm like, you fuckers. So I go in. I never had a copyright strike. There's a difference for those who don't know. There's copyright detected where they'll take your monetization. Like, so you don't get to monetize the video. They'll take your monetization, but your video is fine. Your video will still play everywhere, whatever. There's another version where it's like, it'll be blocked in certain countries based on certain restrictions. And then there's like a copyright strike. A copyright strike is kind of like a big, like a big strike against your whole channel.
Yeah.
And you can only have 3 of them simultaneously before you risk getting terminated completely. Now, you can get rid of them. They expire after 90 days. And if you go to copyright school, is what they call it, you have to take a certification test that shows that you understand how copyright works. So I took the test just to, at least in case it was like 4 questions. You were supposed to watch some video, but the answers to the questions were very obvious. Just so that in 90 days it would go away. But I emailed the guy and I was like, yo, like what's going on? Oh no, at first they're like, file a counterclaim. So I put in a counterclaim. I said, I emailed with this guy and he said it was resolved. So I don't know what's going on. And YouTube gets back to me and they're like, based on what you wrote, we don't have a clue what you're talking about. And it's not obvious that this was done maliciously or whatever. So I emailed the guy again. I was like, I thought we resolved this. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to like finalize it or something. And then he finalized it. Now the copyright strike went away and everything's fine. But what I've learned is that these manual strikes are pretty serious business. Like somebody can really fuck up your channel on you, like just by saying so.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And it doesn't seem like you can't challenge it if they do that. So
there was I used some copyrighted music in the Black Friday episode of Junt's Cart this past year. And because I was like uploading it in a rush because we did the same day thing. It was auto detected. I got demonetized for it. There was like copyright detected and I filed like I think this is fair use, like a little, whatever that form was. And nobody from the copyright holder's channel responded within 30 days, and I got monetized again. So YouTube will favor you if the person doesn't continue to like pursue it.
That's interesting.
And you
does that give you a pause of using stuff like that in future videos, or?
I thought it was really good music for the scene.
I mean, like, it does give me pause. I'm working on this like PlayStation video, and there's like one clip I can't source. I have to steal it from somebody, and I'm gonna at least put a link to the video in my description, just because I don't want that, because of this situation. I'm like, I don't want him to accuse me of not crediting him.
I just can't help but feel like, is this really the future of YouTube? Like this back and forth nonsense?
Yeah, man. I try to source my own comments, stuff as much as possible, like record my own footage. But sometimes, like the footage that I couldn't get is a demo disc for a PlayStation game, or a PlayStation demo disc, which I couldn't find a image online of. And so I had to steal it from somebody's YouTube channel.
I think there should be like
I'm going to credit them, I guess.
I think copyright law in the U.S. should be revised now that we're in this total remix internet age where everybody's using the same content. And like I hear about, like some of these kind of hackish YouTube channels like Lady Decade or Top Hat Gaming or whatever.
They're always stealing stuff, apparently.
They get in trouble for using something off of like Google image search. And I'm like, are we really going to give people shit for using stuff off of Google image search?
Oh yeah. Like in my philosophy, like I think if you're doing transformative work of any kind, almost, as long as you're not just like reposting the whole thing saying it's yours, I'm fine with. Like if you take my stuff and you comment on it, or you like need to put a little clip in, you have free reign. Go ahead. As long as you don't say, I made this, I made the EJ review, that's fine.
That's the thing to protect against. I think like it should be, I think the law should be revised to consider things like YouTube, and it should just be straight up like, hey, you know that fair use thing that it doesn't seem like anybody ever gets the claim. They're like, oh, that's not fair use. Like nothing's fair use apparently. I think that like fair use should be incredibly expanded. Like, and to the point of like, it can just be 20 seconds. I don't care for what reason. 20 seconds, you're fine. You know, like, because what are you going to do? Like, make money off of somebody's 20 seconds? Like, how can you abuse that? I don't know how you can abuse 20 seconds.
I don't know. And then, Chat GPT or whatever is stealing from people inadvertently. It's like, like where are they source it? Do they have sources whenever like you say, hey, write me this? Do they have sources about where they're getting inspiration for what they're saying? Probably not.
Yeah, everything they say came from a human at some point. And so, but probably it's like, for some of their responses, it'd be like 500 citations,
Yeah. Well, why aren't they doing that? It's not fair use.
I feel like the humanity has kind of outgrown this, this whole, like, we've got to give credit to every single word that anybody else has ever spoken thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty for stealing. I'm good with it.
I'm not saying like that I don't want to protect people's intellectual property. I think people have a right to their intellectual property and they have a right to monetize that intellectual property. I just think that like we should go right ahead and give ourselves a lot more license than we used to.
No, that's exactly what I think.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.